Awesome. Well, we are going to go ahead and get started. This is me giving you all some time back. The last time we met for a neighborhood planning, Project Connect Neighborhood Planning public event, we did not start on time, so I do want to make sure that we are being cognizant of everyone's time here. Thank you all for joining us again. My name is Joanna. As many of you guys already know, I am the Project Connect project manager, and I'm overseeing the neighborhood planning initiative with some folks on the call here too. So excited to have you all here joining us. This is the next event in the neighborhood planning process. December 15th was our kickoff event. It was a big hurrah event where we sort of started the neighborhood planning process. We are in the introductory phase right now. This is the second event of the planning process. So we are going to go ahead and get started here. For today's agenda, we're going to go through a welcome, which I already went through. There's going to be a little bit of housekeeping that we are going to go through. We will do introductions. Who is in the room? I love this part of the agenda because it gets me a better understanding of which neighborhoods are represented, who you are. And then we're going to go through the neighborhood planning process, and then the timeline, and then the big event for today is going to be Community Cafe Dialogue. This is a way, an opportunity for us to facilitate conversation virtually. This is what we were not able to do on December 15th due to time. We're hoping to do that today. Then we'll go through our next steps and our question and answer. So I'll say this again, the presentation portion of the event is going to be an abridged version of the December 15th kickoff event. But the large event for today or activity is going to be our World Cafe or Community Cafe Dialogue, item number 6 there. So housekeeping. So I'm going to pull out my handy dandy laser pointer here. If you are able to change your name to reflect both your name and your neighborhood, please go ahead and do that. And in order to do that, if you hover over the picture of yourself, there are 3 little dots. I'm going to do this along with you all. Click those 3 little dots, and then there will be an option to rename yourself. That is if you are joining us via video. If you're not joining us via video, we welcome you as well. We will offer some space for you to have any comments or questions answered. So I will give you all about 30 minutes to go ahead and do that, and you will see popping up on my window here that I just actually changed mine. So if your first name is SODC, you would be SODC, comma, Downtown West as the neighborhood. Awesome. Please also remain muted unless you are acknowledged to speak. You will have an opportunity. You will have ample amount of opportunity. We're going to have just an hour, a little over an hour, just for you all to talk today. So please remain muted during the presentation, just to be respectful. And also, we will have just a very brief question and answer. So please be respectful of those who are asking questions. If you have additional questions, there is a chat function on the bottom of your screen. You can go ahead and click that chat function and ask questions at any moment. You can also place in any comments that you have. And again, for those who are joining us on the phone today, we will allow you some space to ask a question. So definitely keep your ears perked for that. Awesome. So I am actually going to stop sharing my screen because this is who is in the room? Who are you? What neighborhood do you represent? We just want to get an understanding of that. I think there's maybe 30 or 40 people on this call. So actually, my friend Jason or Cornita, they're actually going to launch a poll in a second. And that poll is going to pop up on your screen. All you have to do is click what neighborhood you're representing. If you are from another neighborhood, there's another option. Go ahead and vote. We'll give you about a minute to vote. And once we have those votes in, we'll share those results with you. All right, we've got 60% of folks have voted. If you are just joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are doing a quick poll just to see what neighborhood you are representing here today. We'll give it another 30 seconds. Okay, I don't think we are getting any more responses. I think we can go ahead and end the poll and share those results. All right, can you all see those results? Yes, thumbs up. Awesome. So for those who are joining us via video, we have 9% of you all. Columbus Square, nice. JBL, we've got 18% of you all. Hyde Park, tying in with JBL for that percentage. Old North St. Louis, we got one person representing us from Old North St. Louis. St. Louis Place is here as well. And then we got some folks here who are from other neighborhoods who are joining to listen in. And of course, we do have some lovely facilitators here today who are going to facilitate the breakout room. Awesome. Cool. So I'm going to hop back to the presentation and we can keep it moving. Awesome. So now that we have a sense of who you guys are, who's in the room, who are we? As you all are aware, I work with St. Louis Development Corporation. We are the economic development arm for the city of St. Louis. You also see some folks on this call who will be facilitators today, who are also from SLDC. SLDC is executing the neighborhood planning process. We are leading it. We are overseeing it. The planning and design agency of the city of St. Louis is also on the call today. I believe John is here somewhere. They are also on the call today. They are partners in this effort. So these are PDAs are the brainchild behind the neighborhood planning process. So they are working together with us to execute. We also got our consultants here, Stantec as well as Civitas. They've been with us from the beginning. They will also be providing support here today. Cool. So that being said, I'm actually going to hand it off to Jason. Jason is a planner by trade. I can certainly explain to you all what a neighborhood plan is, but nothing better than hearing from the planner himself on what a neighborhood plan is. So I will hand it off to Jason.
Thank you, Joanna. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for taking time out to join us on this and really just start, kick off the beginning of this effort, which is going to be extremely important to all these neighborhoods. So what is a neighborhood plan? It's really a document that provides a community vision, for the future of it can be a single neighborhood or a group of neighborhoods. And really, these plans will provide a framework for the residents, organizations, institutions, and the city to really look at, where to invest and guide resources towards the wants and needs of the residents across the city and in each of these neighborhoods. Those frameworks, I throw that out as a planner term. Those frameworks, can include land use and zoning, down to housing, sustainability, touch on arts and culture, youth and education, public health, which has really come to the forefront in the last couple of years, and building equity into the neighborhoods. And really, the plans aim to look at how those efforts are implemented. At the end of the day, this becomes a binding document. So the idea is that each of these plans becomes adopted by city council, and once adopted, the plan becomes a legal document which developers, organizations, and the community, must follow when developing their projects. You will see at the bottom of this whole presentation a little QR code. If you're familiar with those, that'll bring you to our landing page for the exercises we're going to do, but also there's links to planning FAQs and PDA's website, which looks at this overall effort. And if you go to the next slide, Joanna. And then, so, what is our plan? And this is the name we gave to these 6 neighborhoods of St. Louis Place, Columbus Square, Carr Square, Hyde Park, Old North, and Jeff Vanderloo. And our plan is that we understand that all these neighborhoods are in it together. They've been part of Project Connect since the breaking ground of the NGA, and really we wanted to bring these 6 neighborhoods together through this process. One, so that we're learning across the board from each of the processes, but also there's a lot in common between the neighborhoods. At the same time, there's a lot of differences. So the idea is that these will be community-led neighborhood plans that help shape the city policy for the next couple of decades. And this effort is unique in that we're doing a neighborhood plan, individual neighborhood plans for each of these 6 neighborhoods. So the fact that this is rolled into one process, there'll be some overlap, and obviously the edges of the neighborhoods meet at important corridors. So cooperation is key through this, and this will take the next 18 to 24 months. So it's not a quick process, but it is an important process. So again, we thank you for joining us at this early stages of this, and we'll continue to do so throughout it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you, Jason. So where are we now in this planning process? So as Jason mentioned, it typically takes 18 to, it typically takes 14 to 22 months for this process, because it is 6 different neighborhoods going through the process together. We are estimating that it will take a little longer, so 18 to 24 months to go through the planning process. So we are currently in January 2022. Happy New Year for those who I have not seen since December. It's the beginning of a new year. We are currently in the introduction phase of the neighborhood planning process. The neighborhood planning process has certain steps that we will go through in the course of the 18 to 24 months. And at the end of that, as Jason mentioned, at the end of the entire process, there's an actual neighborhood plan, a document that is created and adopted by the city's planning commission. The plan will outline what residents want to see in terms of future growth, policy changes, etc. The introductory phase right now, I would say we are probably the mid to end of the introductory phase. Some of you all may have engaged with our partners PDA previously last summer as they were visiting neighborhoods to actually explain what the neighborhood planning process is. This is a new process for the city. The city is actually creating neighborhood plans for all 79 neighborhoods across the city. The Project Connect neighborhoods are the first to go through that process. So we've done some of those introductions, and we are moving forward with continuing those introductions. I have attended some neighborhood association meetings. There are additional events that I would love to attend in your neighborhood just to get the word out. So again, the neighborhood introduction phase of the neighborhood planning process is intended to really get folks aware of what is neighborhood planning, what is this process, and what does this mean for me and my neighborhood, and how can I get involved if I want to be involved. So I'll give you all a verbal recap of our December 15th kickoff event. So in December, we had about 70 people in attendance. We had a lot of people join us online. I will say that we did not intend to, our first desire, I should say, was not to host this event tonight online. We wanted to do it in person. In person typically is better to facilitate dialogue. However, we just want to recognize that the COVID-19 situation has definitely forced us to be more flexible. So the activities that we will be going through tonight, all of these activities are intended to be replicated in person. We want to make sure that the experience that folks have online, we can also give that experience to folks who may not have access to technology, those who may not have access to Wi-Fi, those who may find it difficult to join via Zoom conference call or video call. So let's see. We also received some feedback from you all on December 15th. As I mentioned, we had about 70 people in attendance. We did not have 70 people complete the survey that we'll talk about a little bit later. But that survey will help us to understand, how do you want to be engaged? How do your neighbors want to be engaged? And who we should engage in this process. So we got a little bit of feedback on that, but we are seeking some more feedback on how to be engaged and how we can, carry out that process. I am going to pause here for a quick question and answer session, because we are going to get into some small breakout groups and facilitated discussion for the next hour. So I'm going to pause here, and I am going to ask Cornita if we have received any questions in the chat.
I am not seeing anything thus far.
Cool. If you all have questions about this process, please post it in the chat. Or alternatively, you can raise your hand and ask to be unmuted. Awesome. We have one question from Mark. How's it going, Mark? Mark, you are muted.
Yes, I don't have a question.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Sorry, I think there were two Marks there. That's a blessing. I've got Mark Kahn from Columbus Square.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Excellent. Just a quick question for Jason on your opening remarks. The overall goal is going to be setting up policies at the city level that you said I couldn't quite clarify if they were going to be, if the member organizations were going to be required to adhere to or should adhere to. And I didn't know if that meant that there were going to be means available for the different subdivisions to be able to enforce those rules to their individual owners if the city was going to start regulating appearance or activity or green space or other things like that. Is that what you're telling us is going to be the long-term goal when you set up community guidelines?
Mark, thanks for the question. I don't know if the community guidelines, some of this will have to be determined throughout the process of what is covered in each of these plans. But what is in these plans becomes a guide for development and organizations and community doing projects in these neighborhoods. So they have to have some alignment with the neighborhood plans as an adopted plan from the city. I don't know specifically what you're asking about the subdivisions or the landowners.
Well, for Columbus Square, we have our rules and regs. Carr Square has their rules and regs. Is there going to be a master document that all of those rules and regs have to be subservient to, or are you just coming up with a guideline or a plan for new development and new work, and existing stuff is pretty much left alone?
Existing stuff would be grandfathered in, such as zoning changes and all that stuff will be for new development, not for existing.
Okay, that helps. Thanks.
Thank you for the question. Yes, I will certainly come back and regroup from the community dialogues. I will share with you all how to get involved in this process and what does that look like from our end as SODC, and what that might look like from your end as someone who's interested in staying engaged.
Second question, is Thursday's meeting a continuation or for people who can't make today's meeting?
Great question. Thursday's meeting is not a continuation. Thursday's meeting will be a replica of today's meeting. So if you attend today, you do not have to attend Thursday. And just to clarify, That meeting is Thursday, February 3rd. Thursday, February 3rd. It's for people who are not available on Tuesday nights. We're going to host the same agenda for Thursday night. Awesome. I will have one more question from the other Mark now. I believe you had a question, and then we'll go to the phone. Mark, I am sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Papas@live.com.
Yes, it's Papas. That's correct, but I have no questions at the moment. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great. If you are on the phone right now and you have a question or a comment, please, you have the floor. Please speak now. Alrighty, going once, going twice. Awesome. As you guys are going through, as we will go through the activity tonight, if you have questions during the activity or after the activity, I will be available after the call, immediately after the call, as well as in the coming days for you to ask those questions. If you have comments or if you have suggestions, I'm here for all of those as well. So we will keep it moving if no one on the phone has a question. Awesome. So we are going to facilitate the Community Cafe Dialogue. So Community Cafe Dialogue, as I mentioned earlier, these are intended to be an easy way to facilitate large group discussions on key topics for a diverse group of individuals. These are intended to be kind of like speed networking, right? You spend 15 minutes in one room, you spend 15 minutes in another, you spend 15 minutes in another. You get your juices flowing, you get to know some of your neighbors, some folks who may not be your neighbors, and then you provide feedback and suggestions, ideas on the topics that will be discussed today. So again, in total, we will have 60 minutes in breakout rooms. 15 minutes each for topic discussion and reflection. We'll ask you to spend the first 10 minutes responding to some prompts and engaging in an interactive activity. And then 5 minutes just for like reflection, maybe share your thoughts. And then after that, we will all regroup and come back to the main room to share any additional reflections, any additional questions. And just to keep this going a little smooth, the facilitators are actually going to rotate from each breakout group. So you do not have to leave your breakout group. You'll be randomly assigned a group. Feel free to say hello, get to know your neighbor, introduce yourself. The facilitators will join you and they will share with you all the activities that we will be exploring today. So let's go through that etiquette real quickly. I do want to make sure that folks are aware. The etiquette for the Community Cafe Dialogue. This is not a new activity. SODC did not just pull this, out of the hat somewhere. Community Cafe Dialogue is actually a pretty popular community engagement tool that is utilized across the country to engage in small group dialogue. Just a little bit of etiquette here. We do want to focus on what matters. So the activities that we have today are really focusing on what matters to you all. We do welcome your suggestions and your feedback on the topics and the activities that are planned for today. In addition to that, the facilitators are going to make sure that a hospitable space is being provided. What does that mean? That means if you are on the phone and if you are in a breakout room, if you cannot see the screen, the facilitators will make space for you to provide your thoughts and suggestions. So you're going to explore some questions that matter. And then we're going to ask you to contribute your thoughts. So this is the time to be reflective, to be thoughtful, to be a little bit idealistic and visionary as well. And then as I mentioned earlier, these will link and connect diverse perspectives, right? So there are definitely similarities across neighborhoods. There are also a lot of differences across neighborhoods too, right? It's just a way for you all to hear what those similarities and differences are and hear other people's perspectives. We may have business owners on a call. We may have residents. We may have property owners on a call. It's a great opportunity to hear some of those things. And then also, this is the key point, listen first. When folks are sharing their thoughts and ideas, we listen first to understand, and we listen actively as well. And then also any new discoveries, anything that made you go, aha, I never knew that, or man, that's a great idea, right? Everybody likes that light bulb to go off in their head. So the community cafe dialogues are meant to share collective discoveries. So that being said, what are the actual topics that we are going to be engaged in today? We have 4 exciting breakout topics for you. The first is going to be a stakeholder engagement activity. So December 15th, the question that was asked of me and the question that was asked tonight as well, right? How do you plan to truly engage folks in this process, right? Again, we are still in the introductory phase, but what we are going to do is we are going to facilitate a stakeholder engagement activity, right? A facilitator is going to share organizations, names, groups of people who have been engaged in the Project Connect initiative in the past, and they will ask you to share your recommendations for what groups do we need to bring to the table, whose voices need to be heard. We will ask you to share those things. The second breakout group will be what we call the SOAR activity, Strengths, Opportunities, Aspirations, and Results. This is the asset-based approach to a challenges and opportunities exercise. What are the greatest opportunities in your community? What are the greatest challenges, right? You will have the opportunity to share. We're going to be using an idea board. So normally in person, you would be either using sticky notes or you would be using markers. We're actually going to do that virtually today. And then the third breakout topic is going to be a letter to your future neighborhood. This is good for all the folks who are visionaries, those who are idealists. You're going to spend about 10 minutes just going through, hey, dear future neighborhood, what's going on? Hey, what is your ideal neighborhood, and what do you like to see 5 to 10 years from now? And then we're also going to go through a cool mapping exercise. So Civitas has actually created a map that you can actually see visually, and we're going to pinpoint amenities on that map. So what amenities currently exist in your community, and what amenities do you want to see in the future? So questions in our breakout activity? Awesome. I'm going to stop the screen share here. Cornita is going to facilitate the breakout room, and happy dialoguing. Awesome. So appreciate you guys participating. So what is next, right? This is just a taste of the activities that will take place throughout the neighborhood planning process. What we did here today was only 15 minutes. You guys sharing your visions, your ideas, your thoughts, your suggestions throughout the neighborhood planning process. There will be deeper dive into those things. So the information and data and feedback that we received today, we are going to use that information to hopefully create topics for focus groups that you all will be able to participate in. In addition to that, each neighborhood will have a neighborhood planning committee, and there will be an application process for the neighborhood planning committee, and you will be allowed to apply. So each neighborhood is going to have a neighborhood planning committee. And then in addition to that, for folks who are not able to join the committee, for folks who have no desire to, there will be focus groups where there will be a deeper dive of some of the things that we discussed today. So that doesn't necessarily detail the plan for engagement. That tells you how you can get involved. If you are interested in getting involved more in this process and you have not already taken that kickoff survey, that kickoff survey is going to tell us how you want to get involved, as well as how we can engage with you and your neighbors. In terms of the, actually, I'll pause there because I know that Jason wanted to share really quickly some of the data that we received so far and why it's important, why we are really collecting this data.
Yeah, thanks, Joanna. So right now we've had 38 surveys completed. So the site that we were on and the links that you guys were given for these exercises, if just scrolling down a little bit brings you to that kickoff survey. So it's a, 5 to 10 minute survey, multiple choice questions. It's all anonymous. It gives you a chance to sign up if you want to be involved in one of the neighborhood committees. But right now we only have 38 surveys completed. We have no one from Columbus Square that's completed that survey. So shout out to you guys from Columbus Square that joined us. And right now we have no one under 18 or no one between the ages of 18 and 25. So if you have, younger siblings, nephews, kids, that may have an interest in this. I mean, since this is sort of building a plan for their future, it'd be great to get that involved. But still have a ways to go. It'll be open for several more weeks as we close out this introduction process. But spread the word, get on there, complete the survey. It'll help us gauge what our next step should be.
And Jason,
Awesome.
this is the same survey content that was distributed at the Fashan Open House?
Yes. If you did if you were at the December 15th meeting and filled out the survey, you can see on the left here, that picture, there's a physical survey. Those have been entered into this online piece. So all that is considered in that 38 completed surveys.
Awesome. So if you completed that survey on the 15th, you do not need to complete it again, just to make that clear. Cool. So as I mentioned, that explains how you can get involved, why the survey is necessary, and I'm going to explain to you really quickly the plan for engagement. I would like to have more time to explain this. So if the person who asked that question would love to have a one-on-one conversation with me or email me, my contact information is on the last slide here. But very briefly, the plan for engagement, we are looking at both traditional as well as non-traditional ways to engage folks. That includes employing a couple of methods. That is the snowball method, right? How are we getting the word out to key individuals, key community leaders, key businesses, and asking them to share that word with their neighbors, right? That is definitely always a good strategy in any community engagement process. One of the things we will also be doing in this process is hopefully engaging the landlords, right? So we want to make sure that we are engaging the renter population as well as the homeowners, and the renters are typically a little harder to reach. So we are targeting the major landlords in the neighborhoods, and we are going to reach out to those landlords to help spread the word and engage the renters directly. In addition to that, there are a couple of other strategies and tools that can be employed. I can explain that offline to folks who are interested in a little bit more detail about how we are the plan to engage. Part of that does involve understanding, as I mentioned earlier, that there are folks who may not have access to Zoom. So how do we actually go to the neighborhoods and actually host this event, a replica of this event, in person, and make sure that those activities are safely facilitated for those folks too, right? Part of that is also the reason why we did the stakeholder activity is to get an understanding from you all of how to engage and who to engage, right? So I'm very excited to read the feedback and the notes that were taken during the stakeholder activity that will help us guide this process. As I mentioned all the time, this process cannot move forward or make progress without you all. I'm just here to help facilitate that process and make sure the right voices are at the table. So that being said, we are going to conclude here. I want to thank you all so much for attending today. Again, if you are here today, you do not need to attend February 3rd unless you want to. We only had the opportunity to do 2 breakout rooms each today. If you do want to attend on February 3rd to attend those additional breakout activities, definitely, we will welcome you. So my team and I are going to stick around for questions. My contact information is there on the screen, but thank you all for coming. If you exit, it's going to take you to a link to complete the survey if you have not completed the survey. So thank you all. I appreciate you all. You can also see in the chat the link to the survey that Jason just posted. So I will linger on if folks have questions, but I really appreciate you all.
thanks for putting this all together. It was really great.
Yeah, thanks for participating. This is great.
Good night.
2 years will hopefully go by fast.
Thank you, Juana. So I know I sent you a bunch of maybe new emails of people that are connected to Hyde Park, and I know somebody else did too. Adrian did also. Are you incorporating those, or do we as people that took that initiative, do we need to keep forwarding your information to those people?
If I have the emails directly, they will be added to the distribution list. So they will receive updates directly. I don't think, are you referring to the, I think you CC'd me on an email just letting folks know about today's event?
Yeah, and so some of those.
Yes, and I saw Adrian's email as well, so.
Okay, good. So, all right, I just want to make sure, those same people continue to get communication, so.
They will, definitely. I also encourage folks to, a lot happens through word of mouth, you know what I mean? So definitely, even if I do send out the email and they do get the email directly, still definitely encourage word of mouth, phone call, and, just give them a nudge. That'll be helpful too.
Yes, I was wondering if the woman from St. Louis Place, I met her at the last meeting in December, if she was still on the line. I think she was the block captain for the area. She's supposed to be in contact with me, and I never heard from her again. So,
do you remember her name?
No, I don't. And I gave her all my information because the thing is, like I said, I'm familiar with the area very well, and I know people that are there that are not engaged at all. And I wanted to help her with participating and getting people from the community engaged.
Awesome. Robin, were you at the last association meeting?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so that's probably where you saw me too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There are two groups. There's the St. Louis Place Neighborhood Association. And I know that there's a block unit associated with that group. And then there's the St. Louis Place Community Partners Association. We just met on Thursday. So were you at that meeting or?
No, I was at the meeting at the Shine.
Okay, so that's probably St. Louis Place Neighborhood Association.
Neighborhood Association.
Because all of our meetings have been virtual.
Okay.
Of the other group, okay? So.
Are you able to share with Robin, Donna, the contact information so she can get involved in the other associations if needed?
I can do that now.
Well, thank you.
Oh, Robin, you're new to the neighborhood, I believe. That's what you had told me?
No, I grew up in the neighborhood, so I'm very familiar with people there, and I'm very familiar with the neighborhood in itself. So, and a lot of people just don't know; they haven't heard. So I was like, how do we get the information to them? How do we engage them?
Definitely. Awesome. Folks, you are free to go. I am just sticking around for questions. So if you have questions.
Thank you.
Or if you just like seeing our faces, that's cool too. I'm going to stop the screen so we can see more of our faces.
I was transfixed in finishing and submitted my lengthy letter to Old North St. Louis.
It started out good. You had me captivated, Alderman.
I wanted to hear that letter.
Well, we ran out of time and it got cut off. I'm sending it to Brian Kruger, and if others are interested in it, I can send it around. But hey, I'm sure other people have great letters, greater than mine.
You can actually read the letter on the OurPlan website. It will be, if you had a chance to post it on there, Alderman, folks.
I hit submit, and it didn't go back to where I thought it would go. It went to a blank screen. So I'm going to log back in and see if I can see it. But
Oh, you actually can't see it. So what happens with the website is there's a filtering process. So it takes a while before you can actually see it. It just screens everything for any derogatory language to make sure that no one's writing any derogatory language on there. So it may take a day before you can.
There was no negative language written to Old North St. Louis.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments, suggestions?
Great. Well, tell your friends and neighbors. You know, we'll be doing this again next week on Thursday. So if you know you have a little more time to think about your letter between now and then.
Are there?
Oh, you mean I get a chance to write another one?
Only if you want.
I'm curious if there's going to be like a means to distribute or communicate with people that have already participated in these. If I don't know that you're going to distribute a mailing list, but is there going to be a message board where if people want to stay in contact, how we get in touch with each other?
I think that's an excellent idea. That's an excellent idea.
I agree.
So
right
how
now,
would we make that happen?
And for all of you, I put the next Jeff Vanderloo community meeting in the chat.
Okay.
The next meeting is February 7th at 6 p.m. So if you kind of want to just come hear what we're discussing in Jeff Vanderloo, and we hope that we kind of participate in each other's meetings so we can kind of understand what each other's doing. And that would help us be more collective.
Where is that meeting held?
It's going to be on virtual. And let me see. The link I will have to post because I get all these emails and I don't know how far down it is. Have to go back weeks and months to find out the link. But yeah, it's usually the first month. If you, let's see. Just trying to figure out how I could post the link in the future. We'll try to get that, I guess, to Joanna or one of you to post so that everybody that you have the email that's on this call, if they want to participate, they can get that link.
Yeah, definitely. If you send it to me, I have the link because I'll be there. So I can send it to you, Lisa. But if you want me to share it, Bobby, with the general contact list for Project Connect folks, definitely let me know and I can send out a message.
I would appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would definitely like the information. This is Christy Harvey.
And I would like it as well. Alderman James Page.
Awesome. Chrissy, you are on the phone. Do you have an email address?
Can I text it to you?
Yes, ma'am. You can email it to me.
Or do you have a number I can text it? What is your email address?
It's last name Brown, BROWNJU at St. Louis-mo.gov. And the St. Louis is ST. It's not SANT, it's ST. St. Louis-mo.gov.
I think you can also just private chat it to her right now if you want.
She's actually on the phone here, so.
Never mind.
All right. Well, you guys just like SLDC, huh?
Okay.
I was going to say, this is the first time I've ever been to a meeting where we had more SLDC people than everybody else. You guys must be picking up the crew and bringing everybody up.
we had to bring in the backup for this one.
Yeah,
you know how it is.
All right. Well, it's good to see you. That means we're making progress and things are looking good. So thank you all for
Slowly.
participating.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good evening. Have a great one.
Good night.
You as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
You as well. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay.